Morning. It's Sunday, day one of the week, right? Hope you guys had a great weekend and you're ready to start your week off with a roar. Listen, let's start out with a couple of house cleaning tips, right? Or not tips, but let's clean some house. It was early. I slept in today, which was really cool. Um, One, what'd you dream about? I had a dream where I was flying again. I used to have these dreams all the time where I could fly sitting down. And I'm not talking about in an airplane, okay? Yeah. I used to it as a kid, sit in a chair and fly. And I could fly anywhere I wanted to in this chair. It was pretty cool. And then it became any chair. I could sit in any chair and fly. It was pretty cool. And then last night, I didn't even need a chair. Haven't had time to sit down and analyze that yet, but I think that's pretty cool. And it was fun. And then trying to explain it to people, nobody can believe you. You know, even though they see you fly up, it's like, no, it ain't gonna happen. Yeah, it was pretty neat. Liked it. So, what'd you dream about? Write it down. Keep a journal. It's kind of important and it's fun. You learn a lot about yourself. Let me scoot this in a little bit. Number 2, what are you grateful for? You know, last night, I'm always grateful for the wonderful things that I have. You know, my wife, we talk about this a lot. You guys know, I'm in a great relationship because we work at it. It's not, given. You wake up every day and you decide to be the great husband. You decide to be a fantastic partner. You decide to be a good friend. You decide to be an honest, loving, trusting, caring person. Those are things that you decide in your relationships. I don't have to tell you, you guys know that. You're smart. But I am grateful for the opportunity to have such a wonderful person in my life and where I live and the people I get to talk to and associate with. And the fact that I get to do this and this is going to become a bigger part of my life. And I thank you guys for being on here and being with me as I launch this and kind of stumble and learn things. Today we're going to cover a few things. Like I said, try and keep it short. But at the end of this, we're going to go through the fitness part, the challenge. Now, some of you can jump off if you want, but I want to finish introducing what's happening. So write down your dreams. Have fun analyzing them. And I'll give you a little tip on when you analyze your dreams. Don't look at anything that could possibly be negative as negative and put it in a category as that's as so. And I'll give you an example. As a martial artist, and you'll hear a lot about this because I spent 43 years of my life doing it, but as a martial artist, what you find is when you train, and we train in our Kempo to be violent. I mean, there are moments in the American Kempo system, Larry Tatum's Kempo, in my Kempo, and I'll go over that later, but where what we do is not very nice to the other person. And it's built that way for a reason. So we dream sometimes. You get to certain levels in your training and you start having these dreams about destroying people or beating, the snot out of them and just doing these things that I consider horrible to other people. I can do them and I'm very good at them, but I don't necessarily seek to do them. That's not what I'm after. It's not ever what I want to do. So you avoid it at all costs if the opportunity, arises and it needs to be done. You have the ability. That being said, when you do it in your dreams, we got an unstable connection. Man, we're going to have a conversation, cable provider. All right, well, we'll keep going anyway, and hopefully it works. When you have these dreams about doing these kind of things, and you wake up, you know how you feel about it. And I tell all of my students, if you feel bad about what occurred in your dream, let's say you had to, you got in a fight, it was for no reason in your dream, and you destroyed this person, and you wake up and you go, man, I feel terrible. That's your subconscious telling you that you're not that kind of person. You don't want to go out and destroy people. Let's say that same dream occurs, but now you're saving somebody's life and you have to go through this person to do it. And you wake up and you go, I feel pretty good. Well, now your brain, your subconscious, your spiritual essence has already tried on that shoe, tried that situation on. You don't have to go out and do it in the street to learn your lesson. Pay attention to your dream, and you know how you feel when you do that because you do have the capability of doing that. Now, how do you feel about it? That makes sense? So when you have dreams, think of them in terms like that way and start to look for fun things. As far as the chair goes, if I analyze it and I come up with something cool, I'll share it with you guys. But right now, think about this for a second because this is where my head's going. I started in a big chair. I got into any chair. This is throughout my life, and now I don't need a chair. Hmm, pretty interesting. Fly. What does it mean to fly? Anyway, here we go. Um, so on my other videos, and if you haven't had a chance to look at them, go look at them. What I have learned so far is we did the emotional and mental well-being. We did the 30 days of being positive. 30 days of being positive was one of my favorites. The interaction between you guys was awesome. Good morning, Mr. Motley. We have a meeting on Monday. I can't wait for that. So we did the 30 days of that was my favorite one so far, because we got a chance to almost touch on all of the things that I use on a daily basis to change people's states, to change my own state of being in my own life. It was great. Oh, I wanted to mention this. Sorry, it's Sunday, man. I'm moving on the gratitude part, which my head was, thinking about the 30 days of positivity and my gratitude statements. Last night, we went to the rodeo here, and there's very few rodeos in Traverse City. Arizona, there's a lot more. Montana, there's some that we want to get to. Wyoming, there's definitely a couple we want to get to. Prescott, I miss Prescott rodeos, but we went to one last night, county fair, and we've been to it. It's only been 3 years in a row now, 3 or 4 years. And the first year, hardly any people there. The next year, same thing, kind of. The third year, so last year, was a little bit more people there. Wasn't packed. The competitors are still few and far between. The the athletes, the bull riders and the broncs. And last night, the ladies, the barrel racing was the biggest event, and some of those ladies and those little girls were just kicking some butt. But anyway, the crowd last night was packed. And it wasn't that there was more people at the fair, because there wasn't. There was about the same amount of people walking around at the county fair. There was a really good band playing. We'll talk about that. This is part of my gratitude statement, okay? Living in a country where we can do that kind of stuff. Now, I haven't really been to other countries to know exactly what it's like there. All I can go off is what I've been told or the countries that I have visited, and that was very limited information. I didn't see if they had rodeos there, but I don't care. I live here, and I'm an American, and I'm very, very proud of it. And last night's rodeo, everybody was having a good time, and it was like the old days for me. I remember the ropeums and just the arenas that we used to get into, and punch and pinch the cows and try and stay on top of anything we could ride. But it was great, and I love the fact that rodeos are coming back. I love it. Some of cruelty to animals and stuff. I don't want to go there with you, but we can talk about that another time. I just love it. And the national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance. Kids were having a good time. They had the kids riding sheep, the mutton busters. It was awesome. Anyway, that's part of my gratitude statement. I had a blast last night, and I love that rodeos are coming back. I brought that up because it's going to feed into what I'm doing today. Okay, so bear with me. All right, so going back to cleaning some house, we did those other videos, and on emotional and mental well-being, I had a question that I'm going to address, typing too, but I like to speak more. Mr. Taylor, Grandmaster Taylor, is a friend of mine online, and we will get to speak, buddy, I promise. Asked me, first he mentioned that he noticed that emotional well-being and mental well-being go hand in hand, and he didn't think you could have one without the other. And then during my research, I come up with some things. So his question was, I believe it was yesterday, did I find out that there's a difference between emotional well-being and mental well-being? Can we have one without the other? And let's see, I think that's the questions he asked. The short answers are, I think all of our well-being, emotional, fitness, mental, financial, spiritual, all tie together. I think we all understand that. We all agree. Can you have one without the other? I believe it's yes to certain degrees, okay? I believe that our emotional well-being, and most people feel more than I can't say that. Let's just say some people feel more than they think, or, right? The feelings are the most important to them. Some people, their intellect is more important to them. Some people, their actions is more important to them. So some people can be very physically fit, and not mentally or emotionally well off or balanced. Some people can be mentally and emotionally well balanced and definitely not physically fit. Spirituality can fit in there, and if you talk to somebody who's very spiritual, and I understand today's Sunday, and when you talk about that too, um, somebody asked about showing up live. We'll discuss that. If you're spiritually imbalanced and you talk to somebody who is led by their spirituality, they will recommend to you find spirituality. Go to church, find a church, find a higher power, whatever the spiritual. There's a lot of different ways of spirituality. There really are. So you find spirituality, and everything else will fall in line. I believe that. How about this? If you talk to a fitness person who has finally got it all together, they will tell you that if you get physically fit and you eat clean and you live a clean life and you really take care of yourself first, everything else will fall in line. And I believe that. If you talk to, I hate to say psychiatrist or psychologist because I don't know for sure, but let's just say somebody who believes that your mental and emotional well-being is the key to everything else, they will tell you, seek help, find a counselor, find a coach, find a doctor that will help you get in line with your emotions and get in line with your mental state of being, and that will help everything else. I agree to a certain extent, right? Because you have to take actions, physical actions, to make anything possible. So, Mr. Taylor, um, yes, there is a difference. Yes, you can have one without the other to a degree, and I think that they all tie together. And I know that the actions you take to fix one can affect the others. So let's get that out of the way, and I hope that helps. And I hope that provoked some more questions and some more thought. All right. So today, I was advised not to go forward with all of my book idea online, but I'm going to give you as much as I can anyway because I think it's pretty fun. And on that note, we will talk about that. Then at the end, I have the fitness challenge. Now, to set up the fitness challenge, here it goes. When I came through my illness, I went from being a patty pathetic and being sick to let's go extreme other direction. Okay, let's move all the way across the field, go the other way. So I wanted to get extremely fit. So I found mentors that I believed in their life were the visual of what I wanted to look like when I was fit. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he's built like me, he's thick, or I'm built like him. And Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. He's got a sense of humor like mine. I love his drive. I love his work ethic, and I think I can build that body because I'm a bigger guy. I'm a thicker guy. I'm not skinny. And so those are the two things. And I decided, in order to hold myself accountable, here in Traverse City, they have a bodybuilding championship in April. Fit for You, who's one of our health clubs here in town. Health club is kind of a weird word, but they're an awesome gym and health club. And they host this bodybuilding championship every April. And I decided, okay, guess what? I'm going to compete in April. Well, time's ticking away, and I haven't been as serious as I wanted to about it. Today is day one, and I'm going to recommit. Now, my daughter told me when I told her this, she said, "Dad, if you're going to play, you play to win. You don't mess around." And I really jumped on it at first, and then let life stress kind of be my excuse to slow me down. So I'm back at it, and my challenge or my invite is any of you that want to come along with me. You don't have to compete. You don't have to even build a body like that if you don't want to. We're just going to work out together. I'm going to hold you accountable every day when I come on here. I'm going to share with you my routines, what I've been doing, and my progress. And I think I will make it a separate video. So if I go live all the time, it's only because that's the easiest way now to load them up. And you don't have to watch it live if you don't want to, but I will go live probably from my gym and help you. I will share with you what I'm eating. I will ask you what you're doing. I will give you my measurements. We will take measurements and we will hold each other accountable. It's a really good way to stay focused for me. If I know I'm going to get on in the morning and you guys are going to be there going, what did you do? Did you eat that cake yesterday? Did you have a Dr. Pepper? I know I won't. So help me out with that. We'll go to the end of this and we'll do it. Are you ready? 26 pieces of me. Let me explain to you 26 real quick. 26 is, for me, an analogy that I use to help with my philosophies about everything. And it comes from my martial arts. I created and developed a system called 26 Move Self-Defense System. 26, why? Because there are 26 letters in the alphabet, my alphabet, okay, the English language. And with those letters, I can make all the words. Does that make sense? Well, to me, martial arts in every aspect can be equated to a conversation. And I like conversations, in case you didn't notice. So if I can learn the letters of the alphabet, learn to pronounce them correctly, and I'm still working on them, right? Learn to formulate words that create a bridge of communication so that I can take what's in here and move it out here and share it. Um, that becomes a valuable tool. Being able to repeat sentences that others have taught me that mean something allow me the opportunity to learn to speak my own sentences that tell the story of how I feel. Let's equate that back to martial arts. In a self-defense situation, easiest one for everybody to understand. Somebody starts a fight with you. What they're really doing is asking a question. So now we got a conversation, or we don't. If they ask a question, you have the choice. Do you answer it or not? So do you fight or do you not? Does that make sense? Do you defend yourself or not? Because fighting and self-defense are two different things. If I've done my work and learned my letters, my words, learned the correct meaning of those words, I don't just spout off words that I don't know what I'm saying. This fight, self-defense situation, doesn't have to happen. I may feel that he's not worth my time. So I use the 26 analogy to create that bridge. Does that make sense? Good. Now, how I chose to use it here, 26 days of you. Okay, I was going to go 26 days because I like the number 26. We got 7. The next time I go through, it's going to be like this. 26 letters of the alphabet. I'm going to pick a letter of the alphabet. We're going to come up and find words in each letter that pertain to what we're talking about. We're going to do it. Trademark, copyright, Jim Adkins, right? There we go. That's mine. So today, for 26 pieces of me, I'm going to share with you parts of my personality in hopes that you will relate and you will do this exercise with yourself. Where do I start this? See, I had it all in my head. Now it's like, no, don't do that, Jim. Back when I visited China, or when I was working in my Shaolin martial arts, Kung Fu, Shaolin Kung Fu, and I met the monks. And, I've always been a fan of David Carradine's Kung Fu series, right? You guys remember that? I would watch these different Kung Fu things, and I grew up in martial arts. You grow up kind of living in a different culture because not immersed in it, but you have the Japanese idea of martial arts. You have the Korean idea of martial arts. You have the Chinese martial arts, Indonesian martial arts, even Egyptian martial arts when I was younger were bleeding through into the Kempo somehow. Kempo was an American art. But when I first started, we were doing Chinese Kempo. Now, Chinese Kempo thrilled me because Kung Fu, right? And I loved Kung Fu. So we're copying Bruce Lee and we're doing what we can. And we're trying to speak the Chinese language. We're trying to speak the Japanese language. We're doing these mystical moves that come from a different culture. Well, at an early age, I still wanted to know why. So my thoughts would go, why would people need this? How did this get developed? Seriously, when I was younger, still do it today. And as I grew, I realized their people all over the world are not much different than we are. They have their culture, some deeply rooted in thousands and thousands and thousands of years of history. So the richer cultures, the deeper significance, the deeper meanings, right? But here in America, we still had our cultures too. They came from other places. They became ours as they blended. Awesome. So about 15 years ago, 12 years ago, I decided to open a cultural center. It was going to be a nonprofit cultural center, the Shaolin Temple Cultural Center, so that I working through Mr. Stiver and the Shaolin Temple and stuff. We were going to do a cultural center here. The purpose for our cultural center was one, to teach Shaolin Kung Fu. Two, to bring in different cultures at different times. We started doing this in our martial arts school. We would every holiday, and I still do this, every holiday I put it to my students, why do you celebrate this holiday? And my question, why do you celebrate this holiday, is always because I don't want people just moving through the motions in life. I want them to know or create reasons and purpose for everything they do. So why do you celebrate Christmas? Tell me. And then they talk about it. And everybody has a different tradition. Well, what else is going on around the country there or the world? There are different traditions that fall in around that time zone. Same thing with Easter, same thing with your birthday, same thing, any holiday. Why do you celebrate it? And you start to realize, one, tradition is slipping away, fading away. People don't even know why they do things anymore. Not everybody, but a lot of people just go through the motions. Some of them bitch about it, some of them embrace it. Either way, they're just moving, right? So you put more meaning behind it. Two, if you research the history, you can naysay it, balk at it, say it was changed, people destroyed this and they did that, or you can look at the reasons behind the original context or any context along the way and find that people are people wherever you go. And we all have things that we have in common. That being said, looking at my life, my new book, I started trying to piece together what makes me me. Not that I need to, it's just fun for me to do. If you look, you look back at Kung Fu, you look back at Kempo, you look back at anything, we all have, don't you do it, Kat, we all have um, history, we all have reasons and purpose why things certain happen. So in my life, I look back and say, okay, well, where did the good pieces come from? Where did the bad pieces come from? And let's let those go, right? So piece number one, or section number one, you tell me if this relates to you. Manners, morals, and ethics. Where do they come from? Well, they come from a lot of places with me. I learned them and learned not them at an early age. Wasn't paying attention, just knew that if I didn't, certain people were not happy and other people were very happy. When you say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, and no, sir, the people that it mattered to, grandmas and grandpas, you made them happy. When you didn't do it, sometimes they let you know about it. Hey, son, hey, boy, did you forget something? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Or yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Um, at the time, it may have seemed like discipline, right? And it might have been, but it was more a way of life. And it was a way of being. And it was a way of showing respect and a way of showing love. And it still comes through today. The people that were letting it go back then didn't mind so much, didn't care so much because they had other things that they were thinking about, didn't push it, didn't help it, didn't grow it. And that's okay. It's their choice. In the martial arts, I'm not sure if it became really relative here in the United States because of our military respect. Yes, sir. No, sir. Please and thank yous. Um, and it doesn't matter. I've heard the story. Yes, it's because of the military. But you know what? Respect's been around forever. As long as there's been teacher-student relationships, there needs to be respect. So in the martial arts world, that carried through for me. And I was told never to refer to your instructor by their first name. Not never, but you call them by their last name, Mr. or Mrs., out of respect. You say yes, sir. You say no, sir. You say yes, ma'am. You say no, ma'am. You say please and thank you. And you trust that they have your best interest at heart. So when you have morals, it starts with trust, and you have to trust yourself. Cowboys have always been a big part of my life. And I mean, from every sense of the word, every definition of the word. Some people think a cowboy is somebody who just sits on the back of a horse and wrangles cattle all day long. That's a definition of a cowboy. That's not the only cowboy. Some people think cowboys run the ranch, run a ranch. That's a cowboy. It's not the only cowboy. There are rodeo cowboys. You know, if you don't bust a bull, or if you ain't broke a bronc, you're not a cowboy or a cowgirl. Yeah, you should have seen them cowgirls run them barrels last night. Some of the boys on the bulls did pretty good too. But that's a definition of a cowboy. But it's not the only definition. You have rednecks. What's a redneck? Well, I think the term redneck came from people who worked out in the sun all the time, in the fields, in the ranches, on the farms. There's a difference between a farmer and a rancher, right? And their necks were red all the time. And they had a certain personality back in those days. They call you a redneck. They call you a cowboy. People stopped calling rednecks cowboys because of the division and the separation in the definition. And because while most cowboys, I'd be willing to say most cowboys are rednecks, definitely not all rednecks are cowboys. What do I mean by that? Well, the difference between a redneck today and a cowboy, and it's been this way for 30 years that I know of, the difference between a redneck and a cowboy is manners. If you're a redneck with manners, you're more a cowboy than a redneck. If you're just a redneck who likes to shit kick and drink and go out and raise hell, God bless you. You're a redneck, not a cowboy. Okay? Not that cowboys don't raise hell. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not pigeonholing anybody. But as a cowboy, I learned to set strong division lines in what you believe. And in doing so, I learned a lot about what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do, and who I'm willing to become. Here's an example. One of the pieces of me, okay? Let's reach for one cowboy in my life. And you're going to hear about cowboys all week, okay? And how they relate to us, and the cowboy in you and the cowboy in me. John Wayne. Okay, now John Wayne was a sailor in his private life. On TV or on the movies, he was a war hero and he was a cowboy. His character as a cowboy touched me as a kid. I loved the way he stood up for what he believed. That was a trait that, you know, the writers and the producers of the movie brought out in him, but he played the part for us. So one of his creeds stuck with me, and it's a later movie, but, you know, I won't be wronged, I won't be insulted, and I won't be laid a hand on. Don't do these things to other men, and I expect the same from them, or the other people, and I expect the same from them. That fits well. Let me repeat it. I won't be wronged, I won't be insulted, and I won't be laid a hand on. I don't do these things to other people, and I expect the same from them. That's a great creed to draw your line with, right? So I did. It works really well face to face. On here, you have people that hide behind keyboards, and you can't really live, you know, when you have a creed like that, it's an ultimatum. And you don't think about that when you look at it and go, that's tough. I like that. That's really strong. I'm gonna adopt that. It's an ultimatum. I won't be, I won't be, I won't be. I expect, and I don't do. So what happens if it happens? What are you willing to do to live that creed? I won't be wronged. Well, if you're wrong, what happens? I won't be laid a hand on. Well, if you are, what happens? Won't be insulted. Well, if you are, what happens? Okay. It's an ultimatum, and you have to decide. And in the process of living that creed, I learned what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. That makes sense? And as my skill as a martial artist progressed to where I know I can hurt people, it changed. Can you take an insult? A couple of times, no problem. Words are words. Sometimes they need to be squashed, but you can't really do a whole lot on here other than block them and get rid of them and let them spout off. But so as that creed rolls forward in my life, cats are fighting. It's helped me grow and change. So the cowboy in me starts with a hard line set of morals and ethics that I believe in, that I'm willing to stand up for. Do you have the same? Here's our question, right? Let's get on it. I don't know how you're going to receive this. I'm really excited about it because of the way it's coming out and the way that the book is moving forward. But the cowboy in us all, the cowboy in you, what traits of a cowboy do you see in yourself? And as we go through this week, I'll throw out a bunch that I attribute to my cowboyness. Okay. One is drawing that hard line, having a creed, having something that you're willing to stand up for and not let it go. Having that hard line, helps you grow. Why? Because that hard line, sooner or later, is going to morph into something that's real, not just words, not just letters of the alphabet. You can speak the words and even know the meanings, but until you put them into place of concrete, this is what I stand for, you really don't understand them. So let's start there. Does that sound like fun? Give me your feedback. I know it's 30 minutes. I'll get off of here, but that's what I wanted to share with you today. I will give you more as the week goes on, and the powers that be from the book people say, yes, run with it. Okay. So have a hard line, draw some morals and ethics, and tell me which ones come from your cowboy in you. Okay. And how you relate to that. Give me a good cowboy story, and I'll do the same this week. We'll talk about that. Okay. I hope this interests you. Right now, it's 31 minutes. We're going to talk a little bit about the fitness challenge, and then I'll come back later today, and I'll go live because it's the easiest way I know how to upload these videos. And I will share with you what I've done today, day one, Sunday, and we'll go forward from there. This morning, I don't know if you can see it, it's not as artistic now, but my breakfast is cream of rice, lean turkey sausage, and it's not the little links, it's the big turkey sausage. I cut it up, and strawberries. And that's a great breakfast. Good carbs, good protein. I'm 215 pounds today. We'll give the rest of that later. Now, I know a couple of you said you were going to do the fitness challenge with me and you didn't have time to watch the live video. Let's address that. You don't have to be on here live. I see I only got 2 people right now live. So you don't have to watch live. The beautiful thing about this is I upload it when I have time and you guys watch it when you have time. And I'll try and cut them shorter. But so the fitness challenge, do what you can to clean out your kitchen today. Take your measurements and take before photos. And I'm not going to ask you to show them. I'm not going to tell you to put them online. That's not what I'm going to do. They're for you. Nice. Good. Go find your horses. Oh, saddle up old Leroy and ride him into town, right? Is it making your head spin because I wasn't clear, or is it making your head spin because you're thinking a lot about it? Let me know, Mr. Hartley. And I like to change your name back to Michael. Not that Myron was bad, because I love that too. Let me know what you're thinking. So the fitness challenge, we're going to eat right. We're going to work out. And listen, the workouts are easy and the diet is easy. I'm not going to ask you to cut out food. I'm not going to ask you to eat 6 meals a day. I'm not going to ask you to do things that are out of ordinary. We're just going to clean things up, and you're going to feel 100% better at the end of 3 weeks. I guarantee it. If you follow this along, I guarantee it. Okay. I love you guys. I think that's it. So the cowboy in you, Mike, got to go find my horse. He's running away somewhere. But let me know, Mike, how the Cowboys touched you. I'm not talking. Don't go there. Come on, you guys. And if this isn't what you want to do, I'll save it for my book and we'll talk about something else. We'll keep the fitness challenge going, though. And I love you. Have a great Sunday. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. And all of the above. Good. I'll try to be more focused, buddy. This may not be exactly what I wanted to. Remember, I told you that. Said that it's up here and it's coming out in gushes and waves on paper, and it may not be exactly what people need here, but the idea is to point out how we relate to a lot of things. And as a cowboy, I think we all have those old, not all of us, maybe it's old timers, morals and ethics of what we used to see as a cowboy online. All right, Mr. Motley, you have a great day too. I'll talk to you on Monday. And all of you, go saddle up your horses and have a good day. Go get that stray running around, right? Go get that stray.